Hello, this is Kev from Mindful Mods. Welcome back. I'm on to my second video where I'm working with this little Squire Mini, which I got from my daughter. I've already installed some new tuners on it, some Cluson style tuners which I took off my Affinity telly, and now I'm going to just do some basic fretboard work. The frets there, the fretboard there is actually Indian laurel, and that what looks like dry wood is actually just the grain of the wood. So at some point in the future I might stain it, but I think for now I know it's good. This fretboard's been moisturized, but what I want to do is just, there's some sharp frets down here. I don't know how often my daughter's going to get up this end of the fretboard, and the edges here of the fretboard just could do with rounding off. They're a bit sharp, just to make it a little bit more playable, and also it's an opportunity just to video this simple mod. It's very quick. Alright, let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do, because I'm going to be using wire wool on the fretboard just to smoothen these bits out, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the pickups and any entrance to through the pick guard to the pickups. I'm probably going to change these pickups, but the little shards of wire wool that come off are really bad for pickups, so I don't want them to get anywhere near it. So I'm just going to quickly take some tape, seal up all the entrances and exits before I get started. Just remember, what's under here are 3 very strong magnets, and these little filings will find any entrance into there, and they really are bad news for the pickup. And you may have wondered why I did the bridge, but there's actually a hole under the bridge for the ground wire to go to. This is a hardtail bridge, I think, anyway. At least I'm not taking any chances, I'm not sure. So that is the painter's tape done, and the next thing is to start just smoothing down this fretboard so it's nice and easy to play for young fingers or old fingers. I'm using this 000040 wire wool. I just ordered this off Amazon. It comes in a massive great pack. I'm really not going to, it's probably going to take me about 2 years to finish this off, and the amount of wire wool I use, but it's quite cheap, so I'm going to take a piece of that off, and that's what we're going to use to do the fretboard. So really very straightforward, this piece. I'm just doing a basic sand, using this like sandpaper. That's essentially what it is, very fine sandpaper. I'm just getting a little bit of wire wool like that, and then just doing a little bit of finishing. That doesn't happen in the factory on these Squires because it kind of keeps them affordable, but this, and particularly the fret edges, is a great way of making this a much more playable guitar. You may have just been able to see in the time lapse there that I've actually been going with the grain on this, and then against the grain, and this is kind of one of those few situations where that's quite a good idea, because I find it really improves when you're bending strings at this end of the guitar. I mean, I don't know how often that's going to happen on this guitar unless I play it, but you know, when you're bending strings on this end of the guitar, it's nice not to have any resistance from the fretboard, which is what you're getting when you've got the grain kind of in the way. So okay, I'm not taking this tape off. There are pieces of metal all over the guitar now, so I'm going to do 2 things to get that off. First, I'm going to get the metal off the fretboard using tape, and then I'm going to get a magnet and I'm going to pass it all the way over the edge of this guitar to try and get all the other bits off. So okay, get on with that then. Right, it's difficult to see what I'm talking about here, but if you look down here all those bits there are pieces of metal waiting to go in the guitar. I mean, it's just on everything. You can see it on there. All pieces of metal. So I now need to spend some time just getting rid of that metal, but wire does this job really well, so it's kind of worth it. Some people would argue it isn't, but it's very good for getting right up to the edges of the frets. Okay, so I'm just going to get a bit of painter's tape, like this, and then I'm just going to pass it over the fretboard like this, and get all of that stuff off. And unfortunately I missed the opportunity, but there was, just to prove my point, around the pickups here, there were big clumps of iron, you know, of steel filings over all three, particularly this one, and indeed there's still some there. So using this, hopefully it'll work to get any lingering pieces. Okay, now I've finished with my magnet. I'm going to take the towel off, which is now also covered in iron filings, give it another quick once over with the magnet before I take off this painter's tape. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be taking this simple sanding block, which you can pick up at your local DIY store, and I'm going to be sanding with the grain the edges, just the edges of the fretboard. I don't want to be sanding the fretboard itself, just the edges, which is why it's quite useful to use a sanding block, because it has natural, you can get sort of be a bit more precise with it sometimes. And I'm just rounding off the very edge so it doesn't feel sharp. I don't want to be getting into the area where the string touches the fretboard. I've already done a couple of these frets, so that's, you know, already starting to feel really nice. Then what I'm going to be doing is with the corner, is just, I don't want to go near the top of the fretboard, sorry, the top of the frets here, because that might affect how my guitar actually plays, create fret buzz, inequality. You want these all to be kind of equal and with the radius of the fretboard. So all I'm doing really here is touching the very edges of the, what we call the fret ends, and smoothing off where I can feel a bit of sharpness. I'm just smoothing that off. Yeah, that's already starting to feel nice. Alright, that's done. It's taken, I don't know, maybe 30-40 minutes, something like that. So now I'm just going to do the same deal as before. I'm going to take my tape, I'm going to start getting the dust off of there. And all I'm going to do now is give the fretboard a bit of a moisturizing. I use this Dunlop lemon oil. Other people use other stuff. Some people say this is too acidic. I don't know. It's what I got, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to give it a reasonably liberal dousing because I've given it a bit of abuse today. I was going to do a video showing you how to do the intonation, but the fact is I've just checked the intonation and the intonation's great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set the action as low as possible. I'm going to do that by, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it counterclockwise. This little Allen key, I poked it in there, and this will just lower the action down. What I'm making sure is that all the way up the fretboard there's no buzz, and there's no buzz, so I'm going to go down a little bit more. I'm going to try and do it at a concert pitch of E. I'm just going to keep going down until it starts buzzing. Because I just went down a little bit more there. It's all good here, but up here, starting to get buzzy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the action back up just a little, half a turn to where it was. And that should. There we go, that's that string done. And as they say, rinse and repeat. That's the so that's all the fretboard now nicely rounded off. The action, wow, that just feels amazing. The whole guitar, I mean, you know, I've spent on this part of the guitar here, okay, they changed the tuners, but I've spent no money, and the guitar just feels 1000% nice to play. It's smooth, it's fast, and the action's really low. And the lower the action, especially on a little, I mean, but any guitar, but especially on a little mini guitar that you're going to give a student to play with, the lower the action, the more comfortable it is to play. The more comfortable it is to play, the slower the calyces build up, right? But the less moaning you're going to get, and the more inclined someone's going to be to go back and want to play it again. And these things come out pretty good, actually. I mean, this is almost a classic pattern here for the saddle pattern here, in terms of the intonation, and it's testament to the build quality of the guitar that it's hardly had to change at all. In fact, I didn't really have to intonate anything. In fact, I intonated and I had to put everything back. Just the action though, and the fretboard has made such a huge difference, so I'd really recommend that. Okay, I will post a tone test, a much shorter video, shortly, and you can see what it sounds like. It's starting to sound pretty kick-ass, I have to say. Okay, catch you next time.